What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. A while back I made a video on how to play poke lanes, and it's about time that we make one about how to play fight lanes. So if you have an aggressive lane with good initiation potential, especially if you're playing a melee champion, knowing how to maximize the power of a fight lane is incredibly important. Let's get started. During a fight lane, the first and most important thing to do is to avoid free poke. Fight lanes often require some sort of initiation to get your damage off, so you're quite vulnerable to free poke most of the time, especially when going in for CS. Now to some extent this is unavoidable since you can't just give up every single CS in order to take no damage, but the way to avoid as much poke as possible is through both positioning and decisive play. For positioning, when you aren't trying to fight, you want to position passively. The way you do this is to only walk up when you're going in for that last hit. Get the CS and then back off immediately until the next one is ready. By doing this, you significantly shorten the window of harass onto you that the opponent has, and will usually force them to miss CS when they go to harass you. And as for the decisive play, you need to have knowledge of the lane matchup and mechanics, and just don't try to go in unless you're sure that you can fight. One of the best ways to get free poke off on a fight lane is to harass them when they try to go in and then deny the initiation. So when you look for a fight, make sure you understand what can deny your initiation and how to avoid it, as well as how much space you have to fight. In addition, there's actually ways to get poke off as a fight lane, and especially if you outsustain your opponent or have short cooldowns, going in for a quick trade and then disengaging immediately after your burst can actually be massive poke. Go in, get off your damage, and back off instantly in order to deny the counter harass from your opponent as best as possible. If your opponent has a lack of space, you can easily come out on top in the trade. Just know what tools they have that may prevent your disengage after the short trade, and be sure to avoid that. And as far as actually fighting goes, you want to look for your power spikes. A power spike can come from a variety of things, but it's where your champion hits a major point and has a jump in power increase. Power spikes stem from things like finishing major items or hitting a significant level. Throughout the game, you're going to experience dozens of power spikes. Think about your levels. You hit a clear spike at level 2, sometimes at level 4, level 6, 9, 11, 16, and occasionally other levels as well, depending on your champion. And you also get a spike through your item builds when you finish an item or buy a major part such as a BF sword or a sheen that gives you a large increase in damage or tankiness. And so you need to use these power spikes effectively. The goal being that you want to fight your opponents while you have your power spike and they do not. And so individual power spikes are fairly cookie cutter and easy to notice. Just be sure to pay attention to items and levels of both you and your opponent, and plan to make plays the instant you get your power spike, before your opponent can hit their power spike. The trick to doing this is to set up the situation. Prepare for the power spike and initiate immediately once you get it. You can set up these spikes by doing things such as pushing for the XP advantage, or backing before your opponent to buy immediately when the gold is disproportionate to their power spike. As a fight lane, your spikes will often be stronger than your opponent's, so look for the fights once you reach that point. Even if your opponent also hits their power spike, yours is usually going to be stronger anyways. And lastly, you want to know how to get a good fight when behind in lane and how to force fights while ahead. For when you're behind, you need to find an optimal situation to fight. That or just avoid fights completely. You can avoid fights by just positioning defensively and giving up a bit of CS, but when you're not that far behind, waiting for an optimal position is what you're going to want to do. Players will often make small positional mistakes, as well as leave windows of opportunity such as when they go for a cannon minion or when they miss a skill shot. All of those are windows to go in on your opponent. Sometimes you can just wait for your power spike and that's going to be enough, but more often than not, a situation will present itself in the form of a positional mistake of your opponent's from them overextending just a little bit, leaving them open. Just understand what your opponent's fight potential is on you, why you're behind, and assess both of those to know if you are able to fight in case they make a mistake. For when you're ahead and want to look to fight, to help snowball, the key thing you need to do is create space. You need space to go in so your opponent can't kite into an area where you can't follow them, such as under a tower. So what you want to do is let your opponent push the lane. Only go for the CS at the last second and let the wave push back. If your opponent doesn't push on you, you can reset the wave by hard pushing and then backing off. But generally, I've found that most players will push if you just let them get the CS. After you create enough space for you to fight, you want to position aggressively. Sometimes you can just walk in and initiate, and if you can do that and have the space, just go for it. But if you can't, you can position aggressively by walking up the side of the lane around the creeps, and if your opponents respect your power, set up a full-on zone and freeze the lane. The opponents will be forced to do something or give up almost all of the CS. In both cases, you can create a huge lead by fighting them or having a near perfect denial of CS through your freeze. Just don't freeze if the opponent goes to roam, push and then try to follow them or take the tower. And actually, that just about wraps it up. My name is Jeremy, and that's it for my video on how to play a fight lane. Be sure to check me out over at twitch.tv/Jeremy_GamingCurios. Stay connected at facebook.com/GamingCurios, tweet me at GamingCurios, drop a like, share this video, and make sure to subscribe for some more awesome content in the future. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.